Animal like drinking! We're drinking. Cheers. One more. Come on! You know that song? Pretty good for the oil. Drink all these variations of fit your lifestyle.
Happy Valentine's.
What's going on, everybody? It's the Scene Snob, McManhattan, and I'm here to tell you guys about the SceneSnobs.com. We're a channel of variety, comedy, entertainment, geek-related, sports, the whole nine yards. We cover almost every genre. We have so many great shows to choose from. We have shows like the Scene Snobs Podcast, BTB Podcast, The Guapo Show, the Sports Snobs Podcast, the PVD Cast, Jeff Dwoskin presents Crossing the Streams, the Three Geeks Podcast, the Fandom Effect. We probably have the only Matlock-based podcast called Matt Talk, and we're introducing new shows all the time. We have new shows coming up like the Ear Hustling Podcast, Carpool Shenanigans, and of course, From Some Nobodies, Twitching Upstream, and Talking Upstream. So come on, check out the SceneSnobs.com, enjoy it, and please leave feedback. Like, follow, subscribe us, and just let us know what you think. We love to have all the interaction. So I, again, am the Scene Snob McManhattan. Check out thescenesnobs.com. You can follow us anywhere on social media at The Scene Snob, and we will talk to you guys soon. Take care.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sports Snobs. I'm Pat. He's Kaz. Check us out on thescenesnobs.com. You can listen on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out on YouTube if you preferred the visual experience, which I know many do. If you're a big fan of Brian, you love the visual experience.
Especially when I haven't shaved in about 3 weeks. It's lovely.
Absolutely love it. And I have. And I was getting mocked last week, but now I have. I'm good. My wife did my hair. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I gotta get an appointment with the barber again. It's been about 2.5, 3 weeks, and he books up, so I should get in there.
I'll do it.
I'm good.
We'll sit outside my yard. I'll mask up.
Yeah, no, I don't need a Floby haircut.
You don't want the Justin Herbert?
No.
Oh man. Speaking of Justin Herbert, it's funny that I mentioned that. So obviously the leading story this week has to do with Tiger Woods, and Tiger Woods was actually going to play golf with Drew Brees and Justin Herbert. And obviously everyone's aware of what happened. Crazy car accident. And of course, everyone was speculating early, like, oh, history of drugs and addiction. And like, I won't lie, the thought crossed my mind, of course, because, I mean, that's what we do. We're terrible people, and we don't let go of the past when it comes to certain things. And then you heard that he sped by somebody in the parking lot. So you're like, maybe. But in any event, that's ruled out. Just a terrible
Was it an
accident.
IHOP waitress?
We didn't get too
okay.
specific
I was
with
curious.
I don't think he would have sped by.
Maybe it was a drop-off thing, and he's like, I can't let anybody see me back with the IHOP waitress.
It could have been. Maybe she was in the car and she left. Who knows? In any event, he's obviously it was a serious accident, and I don't know about you, but when it happened, it kind of gave me the feelings of like the day that Kobe was in the helicopter crash. Now, obviously, that's much more critical, but it was like the world kind of stopped. The sports world kind of stopped and was like, not even just the sports world. It was on CNN, Fox News. It was on all like different news stations. But it was like, damn.
They were talking like he was dead. They really were talking like he was dead. It was like in memoriam of Tiger. And it's like, are they not telling us that surgery went really bad and he's not going to make it through? But the initial thing, I still believe I mean, he had surgery on his back, 5 weeks ago?
Yeah.
He has a history of using pain meds. So I have a feeling that pain meds did play a role in this. They're just not letting it out because they didn't do any blood toxicology, and they said that he had no smell of alcohol on his breath. There's been no talk about possible opioids.
Yeah, they said it in a way it was like he wasn't intoxicated.
Right.
So I guess that kind of leaves the door open. I mean, I would like to think that's not the case, but I don't know. I mean, the way these things pan out, we see it with all types of investigations. You'd learn something 5 months from now, and you're like, all right, you obviously weren't forthcoming. But yeah, just a crazy day, and all over the radio, all over television. But I guess thankfully he's doing okay. Obviously, the compound fracture, that makes you think Alex Smith and infections and how it could possibly affect you in the long term. But in the thought of that, having just had back surgery, I mean, I'm sure they haven't even gotten to the back yet. But imagine what that does to your back. I mean, the car rolled over. I mean, is he ever going to golf again? Is it going to be a couple of years? I mean, it's kind of messed up to speculate. Like, if I'm on national television, I'm not speculating. But obviously, we're not at that level yet, so we could speculate. But I feel like it has to cross people's minds.
There was a lot of talk that he would never be able to golf again after the last surgery. The last interview he did prior to the accident, he was like, I don't know if I'll be ready for Augusta. Like, and you mentioned he's going to play golf with Breeze and Herbert. He really wasn't. It was more of a TV show, I believe, for Oprah's network, where he's like giving them tips and teaching them different things. So he's not actually swinging the club.
Yeah.
So that combined with this leg injury, and we're only hearing, originally you heard that there were severe injuries to both legs, but now you're only hearing about one leg that had surgery on it. So what's going on with the other leg? The media coverage, I thought it was overkill.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, honestly, I don't think they covered Kobe's helicopter crash the same way they did this. ESPN was on it for 4 or 5 hours. Tiger, it's like 24-hour news. And it's like, okay, he rolled his car. He was an idiot, whether he was intoxicated or not. He hit a median, rolled his car. Yeah, it's a headline story, but we don't need, the reporters outside saying he's still in surgery. He's still in surgery for, a 24-hour news cycle. It's crazy. Nobody else would get that kind of coverage, and I don't know why. Tiger really isn't relevant anymore. So I don't know why it happened that way. And, he did not pass away, thankfully. But people who do pass away in those type of accidents, like Kobe, yes, there was coverage, and then a week later they would do a special on him. But it wasn't like every channel you went to for 24 hours, all they were doing is showing pictures of Tiger Woods' car.
Yeah, I mean, you say he's not relevant anymore, and I want to agree, but it's like it never ends, no matter what. Like he of course he won the Masters. What was it, 2 years ago? So him winning that, even though he had been essentially below average to terrible the previous 5 tournaments, or 5. I don't know how relevant he was prior to winning that. It's like just because he won it just brought him back, and it's like now he's here for another 5 years until he wins. So yeah, I don't mean to sound like an ass, but given the current circumstances, but like I was kind of over Tiger in the golf world. It's like, all right, you're phenomenal, one of the greatest athletes of all time, greatest golfer of all time, did so much for the sport, from a race perspective, cultural perspective, all of that. There's no denying any of that. But it's like, to your point, the coverage was crazy. It's like they just beat it and they beat it, and it gets to a point where it's like, all right, we get it. Tiger Woods, we know Tiger Woods. Let's talk about Dustin Johnson when it comes to golf. Let's talk about Rory McIlroy, Brooks Koepka. Like, I don't know. It's like,
and it wasn't even like they had updates. It's not like they were staying on the air because like, oh, a new update. It was the same 5 sets of footage that they would show and the same 5 comments. It's a very dangerous road. Accidents happen here all the time. He hit the median. Look at the car. The car saved his life. And it was those same topics for 24 hours. It just got nauseating, in my opinion.
Yeah, the press conference I think the first press conference was like 6 o'clock. And I was like, all right, great. Let's hear the update. And then the sheriff spoke. And then I think one of like the EMS or like firefighters who showed up on the scene spoke, and he literally verbatim just repeated everything that the sheriff said. And I was just like, we know nothing. Like, you were better off just saying, we'll wait till 8:00 tonight and then we'll give you an update. Like, it's just, I get it. People are going to tune in obviously and view your network if you have the update. But in any event,
we had updates.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, as soon as they could say anything, and technically it's an update to them, and people are going to tune in. Like, I'm the ass that turned it. I was like, all right, there's going to be an update, and I should have known they wouldn't have an update that quickly. But
well, there was nothing else to watch. You'd have to go to
This is true.
Netflix to not watch about Tiger.
This is true. Put the DVR on. Either way, obviously, hope for the best for him. Glad it turned out the way it did. I mean, the way the car looked. I mean, 9 out of 10 times that person's probably dead. I mean, to be blunt, the way it rolled over, and then the way others were like describing that stretch of road, he ended up going like 500 feet, like after he hit the median. It's just, I don't know. Good thing he was wearing a seatbelt.
All I know is buy stock in Genesis SUVs. They are going to be selling like crazy.
Yeah,
that was a 24-hour commercial about the Genesis SUV. That was the greatest thing that ever happened. Hyundai owns the Genesis brand. That's the best thing that ever happened to Hyundai in their life.
Absolutely. And he just got the car that I think they just gave him that car that morning. So I don't know. Maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe he's never driven a Genesis.
That he was interviewed at the Genesis Cup. That's what he was doing there, and that's his tournament.
Yeah, but
maybe they cut brake lines. I mean, hey, got to get sales. Car sales aren't that high right now with the pandemic. Maybe,
You heard it here first. Conspiracy theory number 1. Jeez. All right. Well, so I'm going to jump around a little bit. So speaking of how, the terrible Kobe accident last year and how it kind of felt that way with Tiger Woods, at least the way they initially reported it. So Kyrie Irving, among others, is kind of lobbying for the NBA logo to be changed from Jerry West to Kobe. And I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that?
So I'm not a fan of changing logos that have been there for years. Also, the NBA has never come out and said it's Jerry West. So they've never come out and said it's a player in our logo. You just know it because it's from a photo and it looks exactly like Jerry West. Yeah. So it's not like they sit there and tout that, Jerry West is an NBA logo. All the media talks about it, everything like that. So I don't think it should be changed to one player, because why should it be changed to Kobe? Why should it not be changed to Wilt Chamberlain? Why should it not be changed to, Bill Bradley? Why are we picking Kobe? Because unfortunately he died in a helicopter crash. That makes you worthy of a logo? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. I think if you try to make it look like a player, it diminishes the NBA. Like right now, if you're a sports fan, the logo is Jerry West. But if you're a casual fan, you're not going, oh my God, look, that's Jerry West. It's a dude dribbling a basketball. But now if you try to do it as the, Jordan Jumpman thing, that's Jordan. Now it's not the NBA. Now it's Michael Jordan's league. And I don't believe in touching that, but there's a lot with the NBA I currently don't like. And one of the things is all these goddamn uniforms that they're trying to push on us. Like, honestly, they just want, they don't have people in the stands. They're trying to get people to buy these uniforms. I've seen the Lakers play in blue and white more than I have purple and gold this year.
Yeah,
I've seen the Nets. The Nets have I've seen 8 different uniforms that they have. And the worst by all is the Miami Heat. That uniform, it looks like something somebody would wear as a costume to a gender reveal party.
The blue
on one side,
the baby blue
on the other side. It's horrendous.
Yeah, it's like a outfit out of the 70s going to a club in Miami. I don't know.
I would quit if the owner of the Miami Heat is like, look, here's your new jersey. I'll be like, I retire. Bye. I'm not wearing that thing.
Yeah. So with the jerseys, I don't mean to digress. Did you see the Thunder last night?
Yes.
They changed jerseys at halftime because of the mix-up. I mean, what are we doing? You're the NBA. How does that get mixed up?
I don't know. I mean, in high school and college, when you were home, you wore white. When you were away, you wore your away colors. But the problem is now you don't just have a white and team color jersey. You have your alternate retro Sunday jersey. You have your, this is your alternate number 3 that you could wear on the 3rd Thursday of the month. And it's ridiculous. Have 2 jerseys, a home and an away. And if you want a 3rd one for like a special game, that's fine. But
the Christmas ones.
It's just you don't know how many times I'm trying to find the Laker game, and I'm like, oh, that's not them. That's blue and white. And then I look at the guy, and I'm like, no, that's the Lakers.
So that Kentucky playing?
Well, it's more like Carolina. It's like that powder.
Yeah, it's a little bit lighter.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think the worst ones are the ones that are like the Town or Bed-Stuy. I hate those jerseys.
Yeah.
I think the Warriors did it first.
Yes.
And then everyone just started following, and it's just gotten to a point where it's just not every city can do that. Like you don't have a cool enough nickname, or you don't have a cool enough theme of your city to throw the this. It's unbearable, and they're trying too hard. You don't even need to. Like I complain about the NBA. I complain about how it's kind of become the players' league. Whether or not that's wrong is up for debate, obviously, but I still watch. I mean, if there's nothing on television, which on Friday and Saturday nights, there's really not. I'm watching these games 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, Utah Jazz versus the Thunder. Like it doesn't matter who's playing. I'm still tuning in because there's certain superstars that they line up the TV schedule that you see them on national television. So I think they're just trying way too hard. I don't know anybody personally that has bought those terrible jerseys, those alternates. I don't know what they're doing. Baseball started doing it too.
Well, here's the thing. We don't know anybody that bought them because we can't leave our house currently. But I guarantee if you went to Brooklyn and were walking around the Barclays Center, you would see somebody in all 8 different jerseys that the Nets currently have.
I guess. I don't know. You got too much money if you could buy those jerseys. That's all I'm saying. But they're doing it in every sport. Except for football. I mean, football, they did some jersey changes, but you don't have like 10 alternates. It's like one alternate for the season, and then it might change next year. Like the Jets going to black. Like that's a change that they stuck with the whole year. It wasn't like, oh, 1 week we'll wear black, 1 week we'll wear green. Except the Thursday night color rushes. That's fine. No problem with that, even though those jerseys are horrendous.
Some of them are good. Some of them are good.
The all white ones are the good ones. The away ones are way better.
Yes.
When it's just white with like the one color, those are nice. Like the New England Patriots, those are beautiful. All white with like the red numbers, I think it was, or the Colts, like teams like that. But yeah, MLB has all the black alternates now. Everyone has a black jersey. The NHL, I don't know what they're doing in the NHL. I won't lie. They
only have a 3rd jersey now. This year they call it the reverse retro. So it's a play on an old jersey. So like the Devils, it's
the green, right?
Yeah, it's green with like a red logo. When they're old retros, it used to be red with the green in the logo. So they just kind of switched it up. Some of them look good. Some of them look horrible.
Yeah, I heard about that earlier in the year. I haven't watched. I haven't seen any games with them wearing those jerseys. But
the Devils were off for like 2 months because of COVID. So
and then they came back and beat the Rangers pretty bad. So.
Yeah, then they lost like 3, but they won the other day against Buffalo. So
they're decent. And Buffalo hasn't played in a while either. Right. Yeah, they're decent. They're decent. Long season, anything's possible. Speaking of long seasons and anything's possible, is it possible that Kevin Durant comes back this season? Like, he was out with the hamstring. He's had lower body injuries the whole year. They say, Steve Nash says, he's definitely going to be back by the All-Star break. And then yesterday you hear, no, we're going to play it safe. Kevin Durant's going to stay out past the All-Star break, come back when the season resumes. And I get it. I 100% get it.
I have a feeling he will come back. I have a feeling the reason why they're keeping him out till after the All-Star break is because they're going to force the players to play in the All-Star game. And they probably are like, you know what? Let's keep him out an extra 3 more games so he doesn't have to play in that stupid exhibition when there's only 3 days off.
Yeah, 100%. It's the stupidest thing. We talked about this, I think, 2 weeks ago. It's terrible. Players don't want to do it. I don't even think fans care. I never watched the All-Star game. I'll probably watch the dunk contest. Although I don't even know who's in it. I know Obi Toppin has been rumored to be in it, which I guess would be cool. Seeing a local
But
guy.
it's not like halftime or something.
Yeah, it's in the middle of the game. It's gonna be like a 40-minute halftime. I guess you have like
That's
4
even
dunks.
worse for the players. That's even worse for the players in the game.
Yeah. Well, don't they want to watch too? Like if I'm a player, I want to watch. If I'm Julius Randle and I made the All-Star team, I want to watch my teammate in the dunk contest. Or if I'm just a fan of other players in the league, I want to watch. Like you might have somebody exciting. Not that they usually do, but I don't know.
You're going to sit there. You're going to get cold, regardless if it's in the locker room or watching it from the stands. And then you're going to go back out there when you don't play full speed in the All-Star game. So now you're not going full speed.
Kyle Lowry does. Kyle Lowry's out there taking charges.
Yeah. But, I mean, and that's where you're going to get your injuries. And I think it's a stupid idea. I don't know. I'll probably end up watching it because it'll be the only thing on. But, I mean, I don't know if you saw the, speaking of like a long delay, did you see the NHL game that they did in Lake Tahoe? They started it at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, played the first period, and then they're like, oh, wow, the sun is melting the ice. We'll continue at 9 p.m. tonight.
I didn't even I saw the intro to the game because I was fascinated. The setup was beautiful. Like it was amazing. And you can tell the players were like all pumped up for it. No fans there, obviously, but it was an amazing setting. So I wanted to see what it looked like, and then I watched like the first couple minutes, and I was like, I'm good. You know, this is cool, but I have no interest in either of these teams. So I honestly didn't even hear about that.
Yeah. So like midway through the first period, they started getting some things where they had to repair the ice. End of the first period, they're just like, we can't do this. Come back tonight when the sun goes down. And it's like, really, nobody thought sun melts ice? Like, okay.
Yeah, regardless of temperature, it's still going to have an effect.
Right.
They could have turned it into water polo.
You didn't test it the day before?
They should have played the second period water polo, and then the third period they should have did like, I don't know, water skiing or something.
Well, then the next day they had games back-to-back in Tahoe. The next day on Sunday it was supposed to start at 3 p.m., and they just scratched it and said, yeah, it's a 7 p.m. start.
That's just who is on like the operations team of like who says 3 p.m. sun's just about past like peak like 12 to 2 is like the peak sun time. It's just past that peak. Let's play hockey right now on frozen ice outside. No obstructions around like covering the ice. There's no like tall trees. It was like you saw the lake right there. I don't get it. Who I mean, how do you not get fired? How much does that person get paid to make that terrible decision? It's fascinating how this stuff happens.
When the Devils played the Rangers in Yankee Stadium, they actually had to postpone the game 45 minutes at the start of the game because of glare from the ice. So it's like, who did not like do a layout of this arena and go, okay, the sun is going to be in this area. And like the day before, aren't you out there and going, okay, game is supposed to be at 2:00. What's it look like out here? Why are you waiting until a half hour before the game to go, oh, damn, we're outdoors and there's going to be sun? We should have thought of that.
Yeah, like go through some simulations. Like the sun's not going to change from day to day. It's going to be in that exact same spot at 2:00 this day and then 2:00 this day. I don't know. Overall,
I will tell you though, that game was like Yankee Stadium. They were not ready to handle a hockey crowd. It's a baseball stadium. It's built for with hockey, just like football. Nobody's going to the bathroom. Nobody's going to the beer stand until the end of the period. And a baseball stadium can't handle a whole stadium of guys running to the restroom in a 10-minute intermission between periods. There were some despicable things that were seen in the hallway of that famous stadium because it could just not handle the crowd that was there.
Yeah, that stadium is not great as it is. I've been to Yankee Stadium. I don't think it's that nice of a stadium. I think Citi Field is way nicer, much more modern. Yeah, I could imagine.
The only thing that was the Devils lost that game. It was a great game to go to, but the most fun was tailgating outside Yankee Stadium before the game, and it was so much fun. It was like 9 a.m. in the morning. I took a train up to the stadium. My other buddies had their cars all set up. We were doing shots off of an ice block with the party next to us. It was.
That's how COVID started.
Possibly. That may have been where I got syphilis. I'm not sure.
Among a number of other things, for sure. That explains a lot. That explains a lot about you. I mean, I like the concept of these games, though. I do. I can appreciate what the NHL does. Even college football, when they have the games at Yankee Stadium, like, I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Changing the setting and whatnot. But I mean, back to the NBA, it's just silly. I'll watch the All-Star game. It's silly. It's just makes no sense. And then the fans in the stands aspect.
Well, is there any All-Star game you actually enjoy watching?
All right, so I think the most enjoyable All-Star game has to be baseball. And it sounds crazy, but I think it's the only All-Star game where they're actually trying. Like, and then they're miking up the players now. Like the NBA, there's no defense. In baseball, people want to hit the ball and they want to play defense. In football, it's the same thing as the NBA. I mean, except for like Jamal Adams laying out a punter here and there. I mean, no one really wants to get hurt. They blow the whistle so early. Baseball, you don't have to worry about like injuries like that. It's a regular baseball game. You're playing like one inning if you're a pitcher, unless you're the starter. And then if you're any other player, you're playing like 2 innings tops. So you don't have to worry about any other like injuries or any other unforeseen circumstance. Like it's pure. It's like it's the closest thing to the actual game
because baseball is boring in general.
Which is funny because I would pick any other sport to watch or go to a game than baseball. But if it was the All-Star game, I would choose baseball.
Because I think your point is valid. All the other All-Star games don't match how a real game is played. Baseball is so boring and long and drawn out. It's an All-Star game every game because it's the most boring thing to watch.
Yeah, I don't know if they're having a 3-point contest, but I think they did away with it because every game has now become a 3-point contest.
Yeah.
It's I'll watch because I'm a sucker, but it's stupid. I guess sticking with hockey real quick, I know you're not a Rangers fan, but like what the hell is going on with Panarin? Like this is some crazy Russian like conspiracy stuff. It's just false allegations, or they're like setting them up. I don't know. I don't want the Russians to tap into this podcast, come to my house and kill me. So I won't speak too strongly on it, but it's just, it's nuts. It's nuts what happens over there.
He's critical of Putin. So, either you get poisoned or they ruin your reputation, or both. So maybe they're doing a fake trial saying that he did something so they can get him deported back to Russia, and that's when they poison him. They like doing it in cars, the air vents in cars. I've read a lot about that.
Wow. I think you might be working on the cover here.
Yeah.
Brian
Maybe
Putin.
he gets the Genesis truck and he'll be fine, just like Tiger.
Maybe. But it's just nuts. They're saying, like, what if they pay a woman to be the victim? And, like, how could you, I guess, beat that if she's giving eyewitness and victim that he did something? Like, that's just, we have it good in America. Like, I think sometimes we're a messed up country. There's no doubt. But like, when it comes to things like this, I think we're okay. Like we should appreciate what we have and how our justice system, although flawed, isn't completely made up, and they just create crimes to get back at people for just criticizing the president. Imagine having here everyone who criticized like Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Like, I mean, how many people in America would be poisoned, would be on false trials? It's absolutely nuts.
Hey, JFK. That's all I'm going to say. JFK. All right. One shooter. Come on.
Oh man. Now again, this is turning from a sports podcast to a politics podcast. Yeah, crazy stuff. well, obviously he's not playing with the team, which I get. I mean, you're worried for your family, but I don't know. I'm interested to see how this one pans out. Pun intended. We haven't taken this long to jump into football in a while. But Carson Wentz, we haven't. I don't think we've done a show since Carson Wentz got dealt to the Colts, and we were talking about this. What's the best spot for Carson Wentz? What's the best spot for Sam Darnold? And I think the Colts were both of in our opinion, were the best team set up to win right away with one of these quarterbacks. And obviously Carson Wentz, I think he's a better quarterback than Sam Darnold. So with Carson Wentz on the Colts now, I mean, where are they? Are they the number 2
I don't think
team?
they're any better than last year.
Really? You don't think they jumped the Bills here?
You think Carson Wentz is better than Phillip Rivers?
Well, because he can move. I think that goes a long way. And Frank Reich was the offensive coordinator for the Eagles when Carson Wentz was the starting quarterback. So I think that they have a little bit of chemistry there. I don't know what that turns out in. I mean, it might not work, but I mean, I'm not a Carson Wentz fan. I'm not a fan of any quarterback who comes out of the NFC East, to be honest with you, obviously. Just as you're not a Brady fan because you're a Dolphins fan. But I mean, Carson Wentz was he was an MVP caliber player just 2 years ago. And now you put him on the Colts, who their defense is outstanding. Their running game is fantastic. I mean, they're missing a wide receiver. They probably need to draft a wide receiver. Someone who can really open up the field. T.Y. Hilton never stays on the field. I don't know. I mean, the Chiefs are obviously the team to beat, but I think they are better. I think they have gotten better from Phillip Rivers to Carson Wentz, just from a mobile aspect.
I don't buy it. Carson Wentz was a flash in the pan. He's not good.
Strong take. So you would have rather run it back with Phillip Rivers than Carson Wentz?
I think they're in the same spot if they had Rivers or Wentz.
Really? So you're saying okay. Well, Deshaun Watson was out of the. There's no way he was going to the Colts, right? Because it's within the division. So is there someone else did you think Sam Darnold going to the Colts would have made them better? Is he a better quarterback than Phillip Rivers right now, from a mobile perspective or a young quarterback perspective?
Hey, they're talking Russell Wilson now.
You mean Mr. Unlimited?
Why did I do that?
You did it. And I have it on the list right here. That's one of the topics we got to talk about. And I was going to do it, but you opened the door up. I had to take advantage. Oh, it's amazing. So, yeah, Russell Wilson. Okay, this is a great point. Because he's like, no, I don't want to be traded. Everything's good in Seattle. But if you had to trade me, or if you wanted to trade me, I'd prefer to go to the Saints, the Bears, the Cowboys, or the Raiders. First reaction is the Bears? Like, Russell, what are you thinking? Like, do you think Sierra wants to go to Chicago and be part of this miserable life in Chicago where it's freezing cold? The Bears suck. I mean, what are you doing? Like,
do
Vegas
the Bears suck because they don't have a quarterback, or do the Bears just suck overall?
The Bears just suck overall. It's one of those franchises where they just can't get it right. Plus, you have the Packers in your division. I don't think you're going to leapfrog the Packers, even with Russell Wilson. Who's he throwing the ball to besides Allen Robinson?
Who's a free agent, I believe.
Yeah, I think unrestricted free, whatever it is. Point is, why
the first thing I want to say is I do not condone the disparaging remarks Pat said about the wonderful city of Chicago. I think it is a beautiful city. I've had many a good meal there and fine adult beverages in that wonderful city. So I do not condone that. The message that Pat stated is not a reflection of this show. Just want to say that.
I've had a deep dish pizza there. It's good. It's all right. It's not all it's cracked up to be.
I'm not the deep dish pizza, but they got some of those like kielbasa sandwiches and hot dogs. Ooh, they are a Polish kid's dream.
Yeah. Speaking of, I don't want to go into those comments. All right. So out of those four teams, what makes sense? Does he? I mean, obviously you stay with Seattle. Like, if you had to choose 5 teams, Seattle and those 4, why leave Seattle? You're set up to win. The Raiders, the Bears, the Saints. it seems odd. Like the Cowboys, why? What are you doing? Why those 4 teams?
I would say most of them are just because of the legacy those teams have.
The Las Vegas.
No, I said most of them.
The Saints, really? I mean, do they really have a lot?
Think about the Raiders. They got the whole black hole. Like, they're one of the most iconic franchises.
Yeah, but does he really want to go play with Russell? I mean, does he really want to go play with John Gruden? Like, I think I would have picked a team outside the Raiders just because of him. Can't stand the guy.
I kind of like him, but, that's me.
You would like Gruden. But I think so the Cowboys probably make the most sense, but in a way, I'm going to create a story here. Doesn't that kind of undercut Dak Prescott? Like, that's kind of messed up of Russell Wilson, in my opinion. Because if you're putting it out there, and Jerry Jones hears this because Jerry Jones hears everything, and he wants the newest toy out there, right? And if you had to choose between Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson, you probably would choose Russell Wilson. But isn't it kind of messed up that he would do that to Dak? Because now, doesn't Dak lose leverage if Jerry's like, well, we have other options out there, including players who want to come here for X amount of dollars, less than you'll make? I feel like it's kind of messed up.
I think it's worse for like a Carr, because Carr is under contract. Who is under contract to be the Dallas Cowboys quarterback for next year?
Nobody. I don't think anybody. I think Andy Dalton's free agent. Yeah.
So then how is it disrespectful to Dak? Now, if Dak was signed, then I can see it being disrespectful. But there is no quarterback that's signed on the roster.
But that's what all the players always lobby for other players, and I get it. Like, if you're in the league, especially quarterback to quarterback, you would say, well, Dak deserves a contract. And everybody came out and said that.
He's
it was
going to
all
get a contract. It's not like it might not be with Dallas, but he's going to get a contract.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is if Russell Wilson puts that energy out there now, I mean, you don't think Jerry Jones drops everything he's doing with Dak and calls up the Seahawks organization and is like, all right, what do we need to do? I don't know. I think it's kind of messed up. I feel like you see the opposite all the time. You see players, pay this guy, sign this guy, do this, do that. This kind of does the opposite. It kind of creates an obstacle for Dak now, where he may have to take less money if he wants to stay with the Cowboys, which I don't even know why you would want to. But I feel like it's kind of a dick move.
Like I said, if he was under contract, it is. But otherwise, I'm okay with it.
Wow, you're heartless. You're messed up. It's ridiculous. I don't even think I can do a show with you anymore. So disrespectful.
Phew, I got my wish.
Okay. See ya. Messed up. Absolutely messed up. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. Yeah, if you're Russell Wilson, dude, you got it made in Seattle. Like, just you've been to 2 Super Bowls, you won 1. You're in the division. You're in the fight for the division every year. Like, why? I just don't get it. Why go to a franchise that, like, the Saints aren't going to be good? The Bears aren't going to be good. The Raiders play in the division with the Chiefs. They could be okay, but they're not going to win the division. The Cowboys, like I said, I mean, you come to the Cowboys, you're going to win the NFC East for the next 10 years. You'll probably be playing quarterback, same age Tom Brady is at that point. So that makes sense from that perspective. But like I said, messed up. I don't know. That's just my opinion.
You're allowed to be wrong.
I am. Absolutely. Which brings us to Deshaun Watson. Weeks go by and he meets with this person. He meets with this person. This player gets released. This player gets released. This guy gets fired. They relieve this guy of his duties. But here is Deshaun Watson still sitting there, part of the Texans organization. Like, and it sounds like they're not going to move. It's unless that's their play, obviously, to get more leverage, like when the draft approaches. But the draft is 2 months away. I mean,
I don't even think it's that far.
What do you do? Like, what are you doing? What's your play here? I mean, the Jets are ready to essentially give you the stadium. They're half of the stadium, obviously, and all their draft picks, and they'll give you Fireman Ed too in the trade. I heard, and the Texans they're like, no, we're good. We're not going to trade him.
you can never predict what the Texans are going to do.
I feel like we still need to know more. Like, how toxic of an organization is this? It's just
Their two best players wanted out.
yeah, and nobody wants to go there. Like I said, they're the worst expansion team. Like, they've been the most unsuccessful expansion team that I know of. I mean, 20 years, and you've just become relevant 2 years ago, and then you're back down in the dumps this year, and nobody wants to play for your organization. That's pretty sad. I don't know. I think it's messed up. Like, what at face value what Deshaun Watson's doing, because it's kind of like what the NBA players do. We don't know the full story, obviously, and maybe he's doing the right thing by not letting it all out now and letting someone else take care of that. If it's that toxic or if it's that controversial, but I just hope he doesn't go to the Washington football team. That's all I can say. Imagine Deshaun Watson and the Washington football team, Russell Wilson on the Cowboys, and Jalen Hurts doesn't look too bad on the Eagles. I mean, as a Giants fan, my life would just be ruined for, I don't know, 10 years, maybe more.
Why? You got Daniel Jones. You're good.
Yeah, Danny Dimes is no Mr. Unlimited. I mean, you brought it up. You absolutely brought it up. You get what you deserve here. Always talking crap. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know about you though. Back to basketball real quick. I don't know did you watch any of the was it UFC this past weekend?
Very little. Very little. Yep.
Yeah, I don't. You know me. I'm not paying for anything. Even if it's free, I'm not using the energy to turn the channel on. I'll watch the highlights.
There's a good one tonight that's on ESPN Plus. Not a lot of famous fighters, but a lot of like good fighters on their way up.
Yeah, but ESPN Plus, then you got to pay for that too.
I already have a subscription, so.
Oh, excuse me.
Don't worry, you'll have one. You'll have one when you have the kid. It's packaged with Disney Plus.
Yes, you mentioned this. You did mention this. I'll have to invest, I suppose. The expenses just keep piling up, and the child's not even here yet. This is
Just wait.
Yeah. My living room, my dining room full of boxes, people sending stuff here. The house is a mess. It's just, work is crazy. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's absolutely a lot. I don't know how you did it. Good for you. Let me get your login for Disney Plus. You could share it. But real quick, back to the NBA. The Nets obviously have been the hot topic. But the 76ers are still hanging on to the number 1 seed. And with Kevin Durant out, as we talked about earlier, do the 76ers have any shot at I don't think it matters much, but do they have any shot of holding on to the number 1 seed going into the playoffs, in your opinion?
I honestly don't know because I haven't watched many Sixers games. I'm going to have to start doing it, but pretty much I've just been watching the highlights of a lot of it. I've been following more of the West Coast type teams because of being a Lakers fan. But now that, some time has opened up on my calendar, I'll probably get a chance to watch some more of the East Coast games.
Yeah, according to Charles Barkley, I think he said something like comparing Embiid and Simmons to Shaq and Kobe.
That's great.
I don't know what he had before the show, but yeah, I saw I didn't read the article, but I saw the headline. I was like, I mean, you can't even compare those players individually to those two players. It's just absurd. It's absolutely absurd. But that's Charles Barkley for you. Love the guy. Love his takes, how crazy they are. But this one's a bit much. I wonder how Shaq felt about that. I wonder if Shaq was on set when he said that. I'll have to take a look at that now that I'm thinking about that more. He probably wanted to jump across the table. I wonder if they really hate each other. You think Shaq really hates Charles Barkley?
It's all a show.
You think so?
Yeah.
I like to think they hate each other. It's funny when they sprinkled Draymond Green in there. When Draymond Green, I think he was, what was it, last year when he was injured or whatever, they'd sprinkle him in there with Shaq and Charles Barkley, and they go at each other online all the time. It's hilarious. That's the one thing the NBA does right. They have the best like commentator teams. They have the best pregame when it comes to TNT. Like I thoroughly enjoy watching basketball games on TNT because I think that team right there with Ernie, Kenny, Shaq, and Charles Barkley is probably the best pregame team across all sports.
I agree. And I will say, speaking of kids, I now have to go because my son is now banging furiously on the basement door, probably because his iPad is out of power.
I thought that was you.
No.
No? I thought your laptop was losing power, so you were just pounding the table.
No.
All right. Well, so we'll wrap up there. All right, we transition nicely from the kids to your kid. Yeah, well, that's our show. Once again, check us out on thescenesnobs.com, wherever you get your podcast. Check us out on YouTube. If you want to see Brian's child just bust through the door and start knocking stuff off the shelves behind him. We could drag this out a little bit longer. Maybe we'll get some footage of that. But otherwise, tune in next week. We haven't started our picks yet. We got to get on that. NBA, NHL picks that we said we would do. So maybe we'll have to set up a separate show for that or throw 10 minutes in at the end.
Yep.
But in any event, that's it. So tune in next week. We'll see you next week.
Have a good one.
And that's our show, everybody. Thanks for listening. I am Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob. We always appreciate you guys tuning in and commenting along and everything else. Go check out this show or any of our other shows on thescenesnobs.com. Thescenesnobs.com. We love you. You guys are awesome. And if you would like, follow and subscribe to our social media. That really helps us go a long way. And please spread the word. Tell your friends. Have them come in. We love feedback and everything else. So everybody, you have a great day. Again, thanks for listening. Thescenesnobs.com. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.